Hey Trophy Hunters, welcome back to the channel. How is everyone doing today? Now, this is probably a couple of days late because the PlayStation Now games have been announced for a few days now, but I wanted to do a video on all the new games coming to the PlayStation Now platform for the month of August. I'm going to try and do this each month going forward so that you guys can stay up to date on all the latest coming to PlayStation Now. We're going to break down all 9 of these games and look at the platinum trophies associated with them, as well as just what the games are. Let's dive in to the video. Now the first game, and this is the one that PlayStation are promoting as the PlayStation Now title of the month, and that is Hitman 2. Now, unfortunately, Hitman 2 has no platinum trophy. I don't know why the developer and the publisher did this. They did the same thing for Hitman, the original in this new Hitman trilogy, and now for this one as well. I thought that it was because the first one was episodic. This one is less episodic, but it still seems to be the case. Unfortunately, no idea really why that is, but yeah, no platinum trophy, so not really worth mentioning exactly the trophy difficulty on that one. The game itself, though, is really good. The games are really solid and fun. Stealth action game if you're into that. Personally, I do enjoy the fact that you can kind of interact with almost anything in the game. Although these games do become a little bit tedious and frustrating if you fail the mission. You've got to redo everything you've already done again perfectly to try and get that stealth execution kill. But I know a lot of people are massive fans of Hitman, so it's great that this has come to the platform. So next up we have Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. This is a sort of 2D fighter, or not 2D fighter, this is the 3D fighter, but on a 2D plane, so I guess closer like a Tekken or something like that, not like a Dragon Ball Z where those are kind of 3D fighters. This one here has a pretty hefty requirement for the platinum as well. It's going to take you around 100 hours to earn the platinum for this one. There's some pretty grindy stuff in here that you're going to have to do. It's not necessarily hard, it is grindy though, so it's about a 5 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, taking you around 100 hours to platinum. I haven't played this game myself, so I don't really know how it is, but looking at it, it looks like a pretty decent and competent fighting game, just based on the trailers that I've been watching. So yeah, it seems pretty positive. It's obviously got a trophy guide as well done for it, which means that there was a degree of popularity in the game when it came out, enough at least for someone to pull together a trophy guide for this game. Okay, next up we have the Sinking City. Now this, I have talked about this on the channel once before. This is kind of one of those unknown hidden gem type games, I would say. It's an interesting one. This is developed by the same developers who make the Sherlock Holmes games that I really dig, which have easy platinums associated with them too. Now this one here is very similar to those Sherlock Holmes games in terms of platinum trophy difficulty. You're looking at about a 3 out of 10, and it's going to take you about 25 hours to earn the platinum in this one. You play as basically this detective. You're trying to uncover this mystery in this location. He keeps having these hallucinations and dreams, and you've got to uncover this stuff. There's sort of a couple of different games mashed into one here. You've sort of got these detective elements, sort of from Murdered Soul Suspect or Sherlock Holmes, incorporated with these action elements as well. There's a bit of third-person action, third-person shooting in there too. So it kind of fits into a couple of these different camps in terms of categories. The game is a lower budget game, but I think it's really good as well. I personally really enjoyed my time with this one, and while it's not obviously, you know, your big AAA release in terms of quality, it's still a pretty decent game all in all, and I'd recommend checking this one out. Out of all the stuff on this list, this is probably the one that I would recommend checking out the most. This would be the one I would suggest. And I do really think this is a bit of a hidden gem, or a gem in the rough in terms of games on PS4. Okay, and the other game that is being used to promote the August games is Dead Cells. This one here is another game that I personally haven't touched. I have heard a lot about this game. I don't actually know why I've heard so much about this game, but I've not played it. From what it looks like on here, it seems to be sort of a 2D shinobi style game. You're obviously this kind of samurai character, and you've got this sort of fast-paced combat. But again, I haven't personally played it myself, so I don't know exactly what the combat systems in place are here. The game is about an 8 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, and it's going to take you around 50 hours to earn the platinum on this one. It's a pretty enormous time investment, and it's a difficult platinum as well. That's probably why I never touched it when it first launched, because maybe it was just a little bit beyond my level of comfort with these kind of games. The next game on the list is Greedfall. This is developed by Spiders Interactive. These guys are an interesting development team because they developed obviously this Greedfall game here, which is their sort of mythical third-person action RPG game. This game's really cool, by the way. Another diamond in the rough of these games that I kind of refer to as diamonds in the rough or hidden gems of the PlayStation 4 ecosystem. These guys also developed a couple of other space RPGs as well, very similar to Mass Effect. They were called Mars, I think it was called Mars Warlogs and then Technomancer, and they sort of followed the sort of Mass Effect formula. And the interesting part is that this game here kind of feels a little bit more, you know, your fantasy Dragon Age type thing. So these guys here almost feel like they're trying to be a lower budget version of BioWare. Honestly, while this isn't a big AAA game, they do a lot of stuff really, really well with the budget they've got and obviously with the size of team and skills that they have. I think they've pulled together something really, really competent here. And again, this is another one that I would highly recommend checking out this month. Platinum is going to take you around 60 hours. It is an RPG, you know, a big scale RPG, so it's going to take you a decent amount of time to get through, but it's not a difficult platinum. It's only a 4 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. Now, the 6th game to launch this month is Australian Open Tennis 2. Now, there aren't any official trophy guides or roadmaps for this one online, but I've done a bit of research and it's going to be around a 4 or 5 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, and it's going to take you around 35 hours to platinum it. Based on what I've garnered from this game, they have done not a huge amount between Australian Open 1 and Australian Open 2. The two games are very comparable in terms of gameplay and length and trophies. So you can kind of compare it to the Australian Open 1 trophy list if you're wanting to get a better idea of what's actually required here. This game it's a sports game based on the Australian Open or the Australian Tennis Open essentially. There's not a ton of tennis games, I guess, on this generation. This is one of the few. However, this is a budget sports game. It's not of the same level of quality as your FIFAs and EA sports games, so it's worth keeping that in mind as well. Next up we have Pure Farming 2018. This is another really straightforward plat, and surprisingly for a farming game, the platinum is actually quite short as well. This one is about 25 hours to platinum, and it's only a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. It's a lot easier than Farming Simulator. However, if you've played any of these farming sim type games or any of these sim type games, you know exactly what you're in for with this one. It's exactly the same thing you've seen before. Obviously, it's a slightly more budget title again, and it sits in that kind of AA space rather than the Farming Simulator AAA space. So that's kind of where you need to manage your expectations. I remember this one has been discounted so many times on the PlayStation Store. I'm pretty sure I picked this game up 1 cent or 2 cents at one point when it was discounted like 99.9% off. But now it's obviously free on PlayStation Now. WRC 8 also makes its way to PlayStation Now. I haven't played this one either, but I have played previous versions of this game in the franchise. I actually didn't even realize they were up to WRC 8. And I looked around and they've actually passed that one now. So they've got a few of these games out. This one's going to take you around 50 hours to platinum, and it's about a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, which is actually pretty easy for a driving game. However, because there is such a big time investment, you know, that obviously pushes things up a little bit, hence the 50 hours there. But yeah, you know what you're getting in for here. You're getting in for another rally style driving game, but the only driving game coming to PlayStation Now this month. So if you're into driving games, this could be the one for you. And the final game coming to PlayStation Now this month is Warhammer 40k Inquisitor's Martyr. This is a Diablo style, I guess, isometric hack and slash game. It's set in the Warhammer universe, obviously. I haven't played a ton of these Warhammer games. I remember playing one of them on the 360 back in the day, and I used to play with the actual figures as well, but I personally haven't played this one or any of the other PS4 versions. It's a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, and it's going to take you around 60 hours to earn the platinum in this one. Honestly, this game actually looks really, really cool. I would love to sink my teeth into something like this if I just had more time, but unfortunately I have none of the time, and I would definitely want more of the time. But yeah, that's also coming to PlayStation Now if you're into Warhammer. And there you have it. That is your 9 new games coming to PlayStation Now for the month of August. some pretty decent games on this list, to be honest. I had kind of written PlayStation Now off to a degree until recently, and now looking through all the new content coming out on PlayStation Now, I'm really impressed actually by the quality and breadth of content that comes out on it each month. I'm going to continue to do these videos monthly now, showing off the new games that are coming, because a lot of you guys ask for these kind of videos, so I figured it probably makes sense to start making them. Unfortunately, we don't have PlayStation Now here in Australia. It probably doesn't work because our internet is terrible, so we can't use the service, which really sucks. I would love to use it because there's a lot of cool games that are on this platform, but I'll still continue to make videos for all of you other guys everywhere else in the world who can use the service, because I think honestly these kind of videos I think are quite good, and hopefully you guys get some value out of it. If you do get value out of these kind of videos and you enjoy this kind of video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section down below. If you're planning on playing any of these games, also let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.